about. And, I mentioned public funding, but at the end of the day, the bulk of our funding is philanthropic. And so I would encourage your listeners to look at an organization like Father Joe's Villages, who is effective in what it's doing, that helps those not only who are on the streets, but the community at large.
Cloudcast 180. Powerful people, powerful stories, 180 seconds.
The San Diego Union Tribune and Retirement Strategies Group present the Union Tribune Community Spotlight Show with your host, Drew Schlossberg.
I'm Drew Schlossberg of the San Diego Union Tribune, and we are back with Barbara Barr. She is the interim CEO of the Barrio Logan College Institute, joined by her colleague, Jose Vallejo, alumnus of the Institute and the executive director of Urban Life San Diego. Barrio Logan College Institute in the midst of a major capital campaign. Barbara, shout out that website again so people can help support your efforts.
It's www.blci.org.
Now that's terrific, and there's so many good things going on. Volunteer, donate, contribute, whatever. And obviously, the results of it are sitting right across from me here in the studio. Jose Vallejo, what an impressive gentleman you are. You went and graduated from high school. Which school did you go to here?
So after Perkins Elementary, went through a series of different middle schools, and then ended up in Memorial Junior High.
Sure.
And then from there through BLCI, actually, I learned about Preuss during their pilot year.
UCSD.
Went there, and then BLCI said, hey, you're doing well at Preuss. Why don't you try to test into the Bishop School? And I did that and got an opportunity to go to the Bishop School on scholarship. So did well there. And I think that was the first environment where I learned about the Ivy League school system, hearing from other students and their application process. Initially, I was thinking about Berkeley or Stanford, which are great places. And then I made the decision to apply to Yale. First time I'd heard of it. And it just says a lot about environments and how they can impact your trajectory. But thanks to BLCI, I was able to attend such a wonderful place like Bishop's. And then I had the opportunity to go to Yale.
What was your major?
Yeah, I majored in economics.
And when did you graduate from Yale?
I finished the summer of 2007.
Okay.
And I came back a year later to walk with my class. So I finished somewhat early.
He finished in 3 years.
Not surprising.
But yeah, to come back to San Diego and be part of my family's trajectory and serve.
Yeah, one of our colleagues, daughter just graduated from Yale and went to Stanford in a master's, and she played softball for Yale.
Sweet.
Christy Nelson, and of course anyone who walks out of Yale is quite impressive. Urban Life, talk about it.
Sure, Urban Life is a very it's a very interesting context. I think a lot of the roots of my engagement with Urban Life obviously stem from BLCI and the impact it had on my life. I mentioned earlier about just how commonplace gang involvement and gang activity in terms of an association with my neighborhood was when I was growing up.
Right.
And as a frame of reference, some of my cousins, a few have passed away because of that type of culture, and others have been probably spent more than half of their life in prison as a result of that. And so to have something like BLCI in my trajectory really left an imprint in my heart, I think, and in my mind about how to invest my life and how to pay it forward in a meaningful way. And so I've always really believed in holistic youth development. And I was introduced to BLCI a few years ago. I've been there for 6 now. And I've really done a lot of work in City Heights, particularly to address a lot of the educational, academic, developmental gaps that our students face in City Heights, which is it's more of a recently resettled refugee population that we serve. But
right.
Same concept, loving youth, caring after youth, and a generational sense. So highly relational organization. We focus on the mental development, the physical development, the academic development, and also the spiritual development of youth in City Heights.
And you can pretty much say City Heights, Torrey Pines, La Jolla, Escondido, Encinitas is needed everywhere. And I'm
sure
you know this obviously because you're focused on it. Barbara, I'm sure you too, because it's probably a big component of BLCI, and it's starting to get a lot more steam, no pun intended, in the schools with the mental health aspect of it. Mm-hmm. And we know, heaven forbid, we actually talk to the students. Why don't we ask them what they're interested in? What a shock that is, and that aspect too. A lot has come out on mental health. We know we're a crisis situation, and many of this aspect of it. So I think that's terrific that is, that's going on, in that vein. So on Urban Life San Diego, you guys are located in City Heights or in right in City Heights.
Yep,
do you work closely with the Price Foundation
We haven't had the pleasure of meeting the Price Philanthropies or Price Charities organization yet. Mm-hmm. One strong partner we do have in that neighborhood is Copley Price YMCA. And we're also trying to identify partnership opportunities with BLCI, actually, to help beef up our academic services in City Heights. So we'll see how that.
Yeah, well, we're real proud of the Copley YMCA since it was founded by our publisher, Mrs. Helen Copley, and David, her son, probably James, back in the day as well in that vein. But we all know when you are giving back, as you are the classic case of giving back and to the community. 1 + 1 = 10 in this area here. Barbara, where do you see BLCI going in the next 5 to 10 years?
Oh, that's a great question. I think that's something that we're starting to look at now. The building has been a big focus.
Right.
It's our sort of our prize at the end of this long road, this long journey. But after that, it's going to be a look at where does this need to go? What other communities does this need to serve? 2 years ago, then Lieutenant Governor, now Governor Newsom, visited BLCI, and one of the things that he said that was so amazing after he toured and spent a long time with our students, said this needs to be everywhere in the state of California. So now that he's the governor, it's certainly the time to circle back to his office and see where else does this need to go, and I think that is what BLCI's legacy should be.
Well, I mean, and you've got one sitting right next to you too, and when you have examples, like this, and I'm sure Jose would say it as well as anyone. He pretty much has. Listen, coming from a pretty challenging childhood, and here you are now. I think the beauty of things like BLCI and groups like I was fortunate to work with. I was on the AVID board for 9 years, and those people who believe that anyone can succeed, and of course anyone can succeed. I think it's just so critical. That sounds so obvious, but a lot of people don't feel that way. But when you see the results of what you've done, Jose, not to patronize you, but congratulations, and what you're doing, and with the new building and so forth, it's just not affecting the individual, as you guys know. It's a whole culture, it's a whole community, and, as well. In this, are you looking for more corporate support, Barbara?
We definitely are looking for more corporate support. We do have some classrooms available that still are looking for a sponsor in the new building. And the nice thing about corporate support is that we do get those career opportunities, those internship opportunities for people to come, for our students to come in and work with, or have the corporation come in and talk about this is what it means to be X, Y, or Z.
Yeah, and I think he hit something that's just real close to my heart, at least. And one of the things, a billion years ago, I worked for San Diego City Schools, and an emphasis was on school-to-work transition, now called College and Career Pathways. And so many of the schools now are focused on, here's the career pathway. You're never really too young to explore one. Doesn't mean you have to go in it, but you need to explore it in that aspect. Do you emphasize that at all in the Institute? We
do. We're very focused on that. It's something that's really important. And then there is something, our focus is also in the STEM field, because that is the future. It is a big part of San Diego's, culture and financial makeup. So it is something that we do emphasize.
Good. So I'm going to put you on the spot here. The folks that were just in before you came on the air were for the SoCal Cyber Cup Challenge, and they were from NDIA and National University and from Centec Global, and they've been putting on for 11 years a cybersecurity challenge.
Yes.
Have you been involved in that at all?
I have not, but I'm very, very interested in that. If I had it to do all over again, cybersecurity would be the field I would go into. So,
but here's what you can do. They still have sign-ups through end of January to participate. It's for middle school and high school students, which hits your website, SoCal Cyber Cup Challenge. I'll talk to you about it offline.
Okay, great.
We'll
in that
definitely
aspect. Look into that.
And exactly, we'll have Erica Daniels Skatina Daniels go ahead and be a team captain on that. No, seriously, we were talking about that you do not need to be in the world of cybersecurity to be a team captain. You just have to have an adult that's going to support teams of 3 to 8. And again, they've been doing this for quite a while. There's a Mayor's Cyber Cup, but it fits perfectly in what you folks are trying to do. Shout out that website one more time, Barbara. BLCI.org. And shout out your website, Jose.
www.urbanlifesd.org.
That's exactly. And so we got about 45 seconds to go. Any final comments, Barbara?
I just want to say thank you for having us on today. Also, thank you, Jose, for joining us on this. You really are the reason why we do the work. You're the reason why we know our work is so important. And so thank you to everybody out there who has made our work possible.
Yeah, I agree. Jose, got about 15 seconds. Any final comments?
Just back to you, Barbara. I think it's looking back and just feeling loved and cared for by strangers that could have done something else with their life, but decided to devote their time to the development of youth really inspired me to do what I do now. So thank you for what you're doing.
Well, count on coming back on the show.
Okay.
Let's bring on a couple of the students and have them on and do a radio broadcast, and I think they'd enjoy that. How's that sound?
Sounds great.
You bet. Barbara Barr, she's the interim CEO of Barrio Logan College Institute, joined by Jose Vallejo, an alumnus, and also the executive director of Urban Life in San Diego. I'm Drew Schlossberg, and you've been listening to another edition of the Community Spotlight Show here on Cloudcast Media Radio, brought to you by Retirement Strategies Group, the retirement made simple, folks.
Thank you for listening to a podcast from Cloudcast Media, the digital media home for leading local brands. When it comes to amplifying your brand, a Cloudcast-sponsored show offers unbeatable value. Learn more at cloudcast.us.
Cloudcast 180. Powerful people, powerful stories, 180 seconds.
Welcome to Cloudcast 180, the 3-minute lightning round with changemakers here in San Diego. We're here with Ed Heiner, 20-year Navy SEAL, best-selling author, and education entrepreneur. Ed, welcome to the Cloudcast 180.
Thanks for having me.
Your book was called First Fast Fearless, so let's hit this fast and fearlessly. Real quick, you created a program to help change lives of high school students around the country. It's called SEALpreneurship. Tell our audience what it's all about.
Well, it's about leading yourself. Getting a PhD in me, I teach kids how to take care of themselves and lead themselves first, and how to be their own entrepreneur, intrapreneur, if you will.
Is it something you think public education is lacking, this concept of self-leadership?
Absolutely. It's a mindset that kids don't get. My son doesn't get it in his school. The kids don't get it. It's something that, we're educating them, but to be mentally tough and be able to take charge of themselves and accountable for themselves is very unique.
Okay. I've seen an overview of your curriculum, 23 evolutions, and you have a 23-minute podcast series. So what's up with 23?
Chromosomes, right? It's all in all of us. We're all the same. 99.9% of everybody in this world is the same. And we use those chromosomes, 23 pairs, which was one of the concepts we teach as swim buddies, never be alone. Mm-hmm. Always work with someone else, collaborate, and be out there.
Boy, that's a lesson for life for sure. Ed, you were in charge of basic and advanced training for the U.S. Navy SEALs, and I mentioned you're a 20-year SEAL. Tell our audience the greatest lesson from the SEALs that have changed you forever.
Probably in the back of a helicopter one night in Iraq before I was getting ready to fly into an Al-Qaeda target, it dawned on me that when a pilot said, you have this many souls on board, it dawned on me that the opposite of fear is love. It's not else. I don't fight for what I hate in front of me. I fight for what's beside me and behind me that I love.
Wow, it's a powerful concept. Wow. You've talked a lot about the blue-collar scholar as a concept. Fascinating. Tell our audience, what is the blue-collar scholar as it relates to your SEALpreneurship program?
It's a mental concept where people take control. Don't outsource their life. Look, we're going to have people that are in white coats, suits and ties, doctors, PhDs. That's fine. Listen to that and learn your information from them. But eventually, you got to be that mechanic in your own life. You got to turn the wrench. This is happening. So basically, take control of your own life. Use what you can use from other people. Discard it, what you can't, and make that your own. Leadership is something that you do. It's you do with people, not to them. And one of the best forms of leadership I learned in the back of that helicopter is called MOM.
Ed,
Focus on mission, others, me.
Mission, others, me. Ed, thank you for being here. This has been the Cloudcast 180. We hit it fast and fearlessly. We're out.
Cloudcast 180. Powerful people, powerful stories, 180 seconds.